Hello, everybody, and thank you again for joining us for our Citizen Science webinar series. We're very excited for today's session and to have our speaker, Lilli Carlsen. Lilli is the FathomNet Engagement Coordinator from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. She has a passion about connecting ocean research and impacting storytelling. As the engagement coordinator for the FathomNet program, she connects with a diverse range of users, from experts to enthusiasts, to foster a community around emerging technological solutions for ocean exploration. We're excited to dig in and explore with her today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lilli.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. All right. So, hi, everyone. My name is Lilli Wakinekona Carlsen, and I'm the engagement coordinator for the FathomNet program and FathomVerse. So, FathomVerse has been a huge collaborative project that a lot of people have dedicated their time to, and I can't wait to share it with you. But before we dive in, I'd like to take a moment to appreciate the bigger picture. This is what planet Earth, our home, looks like when you center the globe on the Pacific Ocean. Images like this highlight the central role that the ocean plays for planetary health and also in our daily lives. And this is especially clear when you look at the statistics. Over 70% of Earth's surface area is covered by the ocean. And because the ocean is a massive volume, it represents about 97% of the habitable regions on the planet. However, human eyes and cameras have seen less than 1% of the ocean. And because of this lack of exploration, scientists estimate that 30 to 60% of life in the ocean is unknown to science. We need to fill this gap to address the many urgent issues that our ocean is facing. To do this and explore the depths of the ocean, researchers all over the world are deploying all kinds of imaging systems. They're using robots, both autonomous and remote, floats, drop cameras, drones, and even diver-held systems to collect imagery of life in the ocean. Imagery, or visual data, is incredibly rich with information, but the challenge lies in converting these pixels into actionable insights. At MBARI, we're using artificial intelligence to rapidly process this information, but it requires a lot of time and expertise to train, verify, and continuously improve the AI that we use, like you can see on the screen right now. Especially as the rate of data being collected increases exponentially, we can't keep up and we can't do this alone. That's why we're creating a game called FathomVerse, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. FathomVerse invites gamers and ocean enthusiasts to explore the depths of ocean discovery from their mobile device. We launched FathomVerse in May 2024, and then we released a new and improved version, which we call FathomVerse 2.0, earlier this year. FathomVerse is free on the App Store and Google Play Store, and you can see the QR code right there to download on your phone or tablet while I'm talking. I'm more than happy if you multitask during this. And it's designed to inspire a new wave of ocean explorers from high school age and up. The game features real photos collected by researchers with contributions from Schmidt Ocean Institute, NOAA Ocean Exploration, Ocean Networks Canada, Ocean Observatories Initiative, Ocean Exploration Trust, and MBARI. To give you some background on the game, we've designed FathomVerse with 5 pillars in mind. We want players to have an exploration experience where players are able to take control. We aim to make gameplay both productive and relaxed so that you can enjoy the game even if you only have a few minutes to spare, like while you're waiting for the bus. And importantly, we're very transparent about how by playing the game, you're helping us with real scientific research. Now I'm going to go through a quick overview of the game. First, as you can see on the left, you can scroll through the animal library where you learn how to visually identify more than 50 groups of ocean animals. In the middle, you can track your contributions and your progress throughout the game. And on the right here, you can see where the vault, where you can earn new rewards like exclusive digital content. In training, players learn how to identify and label groups of animals so they can build their skill and confidence before moving on to expeditions where they're labeling images that haven't been verified by experts. We also recently added a new type of mini game, which you can see in the middle here, called Bound, where players can draw bounding boxes around objects. In both types of mini games, each label created by a player counts as a vote towards consensus. And when consensus is reached by the FathomVerse community, that data is ready to be moved to the next stage, outside of the game, where it can be shared with experts for verification. And then on the right, you can see some of the badges that players can earn through achieving different milestones in the game. We have some badges that are available all the time and some special limited time badges. We aim to add about 1 to 2 new special badges each month. And one feature that I think would be of interest to educators and people leading citizen science programs like you all is the dashboard, which is available at the link dashboard.fathomverse.game. It's available on your internet browser, and there's also a button on the hub so that it's accessible from the app. The player dashboard shares a summary of your achievements in the game, including the number of annotations you've contributed, the animals you've completed training on, and your precision score, which shows how well you perform at labeling certain animals. So this is a really great tool that's available for if educators or folks leading programs that want to have some way for players to show what they've contributed to the game. We have achieved quite a bit in the short amount of time that FathomVerse has been live, with about $1 million in investment. So far, we have more than 40,000 players from around the world, representing 189 different countries. And collectively, they've generated 21 million annotations. As a team, the FathomVerse community has successfully labeled 155,000 new images, and we've been able to share 95,000 of those newly labeled images to the open access FathomNet database. And then something I'm really excited about is that we have 208 people who have reached the final level, Denizen of the Deep, meaning that there are over 200 people who have committed a decent amount of time to playing this community science game, and they can continue to contribute their time and expertise. And as I mentioned earlier, there is no shortage of data coming in from our partners. We have millions more images that are just waiting for FathomVerse players to get their eyes on them. So the goal, where we're trying to go towards, is to training AI models that can take a video like this and quickly convert it into animal IDs, counts of animals, descriptions of different types of substrates, and be able to do this not just where we do a lot of research, like here in the Monterey Bay, but also do this in places we've never been to before, indicating when we come across an animal we've never seen before or is unknown to science. And we can do all that with machine learning if we have data like what FathomVerse players are generating. And so by working together with the FathomVerse community and the research community, we can create systems that enable us to discover all life in the ocean. I'm biased, but I would highly recommend that you download and try out the game. And if you'd like to partner with us to help us reach new audiences, please contact me. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your presentation. This is Cassandra, everyone from the NOAA Library, and we have plenty of time to answer your questions about FathomVerse. And with that, we do already have some questions coming in, so let me get those up for us. Our first question is, are there any plans to add daily missions or an aquarium where you can view all of the creatures you have successfully identified?
Oh, that's a great question. So At the moment, we have something, I think, a daily mission around what you're talking about. We have some daily streaks. So there's badges where you can earn a daily streak if you've played the game a certain number of days in a row. And then you're also able to view a collection of your favorites, so the images that you've favorited, where you press the heart button from your favorites gallery. But I'd love to pick your brain a bit more about more ideas that you have. And we have a Discord, which you can also access from our website or from the app. And that's where I'd love to talk with you more about your ideas for that.
Awesome. Thank you for your response. Our next question is FathomVerse available for desktop systems?
It is not yet available for desktop systems. However, that is a high priority for our next round of development. And the next feature that we'd like to add is making this available on a desktop browser.
And then how long did it take to create this application?
Oh, that's a great question. So it depends on when you talk about when the idea was born versus when we started development. The program lead, Kakani Katija, has had this idea for a game to crowdsource annotations for a while now, and FathomNet was started in 2019, and then we started development for FathomVerse in 2023. We launched in May of 2024 with version 1 that was fully public. So it's been a couple years now.
Are there multiple profile options or is it just one per phone?
It's just one per phone. So when you download and open the app, that device, you get a specific player ID. The player ID you can find that in the settings page, and that's what you're able to use to search for your contributions on the player dashboard, for example. Something on the horizon that we'd be interested in working on is creating logins so that you're able to save your progress across different devices. For example, I know I like playing sometimes on my tablet and sometimes on my phone, but unfortunately the progress doesn't get saved on both. But that is a feature request that some of our Discord members have also talked about.
Great, thank you. And then I can't display this question on the screen. It came in through the regular audience chat. What ages is FathomVerse appropriate for?
It's appropriate for ages 14 plus. So we created it, some of the educational materials with kind of high school age and up in mind. Obviously, it's possible that someone younger than that could play and enjoy it, but we mostly recommend it for high school ages and up.
Thank you. And then another question from the audience chat. Can you talk more about how the crowdsourcing volunteers help improve the AI identification process?
Absolutely. So the biggest bottleneck in this type of machine learning is the human verification. So we need more people to look at these images to teach the model what's in it, and that creates training data. So essentially, as FathomVerse players reach consensus on image labels, that creates more training data that can improve models. And we can share that training data to the FathomNet database, which then can be used to improve a number of different baseline models.
Can you discuss the software tools behind creating the game? What tools were used, and was it developed by app designers at MBARI or by a contractor?
So we worked with a really amazing game design studio called Anrange Serious Games, and I Definitely not a game designer myself, so I don't know too many of the details. I'd love to follow up with you, and I highly recommend checking out Ranch. Um, they are based in the Netherlands, and we used Unity to create the app. If you're familiar with game development, that's the software that we used.
Could you elaborate on the programming logic used to assemble the boundary files together to assess consensus? And what happens after consensus is achieved?
So in FathomVerse, we have a consensus protocol that we've developed for both the different types of mini games that we have. Bound being the one that focuses on localization, and the rest are focused on, like Identify is focused on classification. I would love to follow up with you, or if you want to reach out to us. I see that this is an anonymous question, but if you want to reach out to us, I'd love to follow up if you have more detailed questions. I am not the best person to answer the questions about the logic that we developed, but it's a really fascinating protocol to develop consensus. And then once consensus is reached with those images, it's depending on the data contributor. If we have the permissions to make it public, we can make it public on the FathomNet database, or we can share it back with the data contributor for them to use.
Great, thank you for your response. And then I know you had it up on the screen earlier, but someone did ask, what is your email? What is the email you would prefer people to reach out to?
Yeah,
Um,
you can reach out to us at FathomVerse@MBARI.org. Also, everything is available at FathomVerse.game at our website.
does the game teach the player how to annotate?
Yes, so that is the main purpose of our training mode. When you first open the game, you'll go through training, and that teaches the player how to identify the animal and then label it correctly. It's also our team built out and created educational materials that we call mission briefings. So that teaches you how to visually identify the different animal groups, like, for example, sea fans and squids.
Awesome. Will there be a gaming console option in the future like Nintendo Switch or PlayStation Store?
That is very just dependent on budget and financing.
Understandable.
Yeah, would love that.
Would there be any plans to, oh, sorry, the same question as before. Let me archive that.
Let us know if that's something you'd love to do. As we grow and expand, we'd like to be able to make this accessible. We started with the mobile device option because that was the most accessible for most people, and we'd love to expand from there.
Sounds great. Would there be ability for collaborations for footage / annotations from other sites?
I'm curious what you mean, but we are open to getting data contributions from other organizations and more different folks. The more diversity of animals and also locations and backgrounds will help improve the AI models the most.
Great, thank you. Are there educational materials available on your website?
There's a little bit. If you go to our blog, fathomverse.game/blog, we have resources for educators, and we're actually currently working on providing even more materials for educators, and that is coming out soon. So if you subscribe to our email list, you will be the first to hear about it. And I'd also mention I would love to work with more educators and hear from you all as you use FathomVerse in any context. I'd love to learn more about how it went, how it worked, and if we can create any type of replicable courses and materials.
Awesome, thank you. How do you think outputs will be used? Should I worry that this could identify areas with less life, therefore be i- impacts less by deep mining? Conversely, could the outputs help prioritize areas that humans should leave alone?
That's a really great question. I think right now the use case for this is that we're trying to just make this data more available. A huge issue or challenge in the ocean exploration community is that a lot of the times this video goes unreviewed and unseen, so that the researchers can't really make use of the data and ask interesting and important questions about biodiversity and resource management. So this will just make that data that's already been collected available for better ecosystem management and stewardship.
Can you speak to how you validate the volunteer slash player identification slash input?
It's complicated and also a very beautiful system that our team has developed where we're able to see in training you develop a precision score, and from that helps we're able to see players that have like higher precision scores, and then we also have the whole consensus protocol where certain animals that are more complicated require more votes or positive labels. So they require, for example, certain corals that are tricky, they require more votes from the community for us to be sure that and confident. And then versus simpler animals to identify, say maybe urchins, require fewer votes because we can be more confident in the players. And we're constantly refining this process and looking at this thing called a confusion matrix to see where players are having the most difficulty, because within the game at all times you're seeing both completely unlabeled images and then some images that we call ground truth that have been labeled, and those help us check in and see how players are doing.
Awesome. And I know you've touched on this a bit already, but someone asked, what other features do you hope to add on the next update of the app?
Oh, that's so definitely. A web version, a web browser for desktop is high on our list of priorities. And then we're actually gathering feedback from our players right now about what features we should prioritize. We have a feedback survey that's out right now. So and from there we'll be able to tell you more specifically what we want to work on and what we are going to prioritize.
Have participants encountered any specimens that turned out to be unidentifiable, as in a new species that was discovered by participants?
Not yet, but that is the hope. That is the vision, that potentially as players are reviewing this imagery that potentially hasn't been seen by anyone, they could come across a new animal.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities for scientists interested in some of these species to access the annotations and data produced?
Yes, there are. And if you reach out to us, I'd definitely love to talk with you more. Um, on the FathomNet database side, there are opportunities to help us verify those labels.
Awesome. And then can you show us what the player view, I think that's what PV stands for, looks like from the user's perspective?
Yes, I can show you. So some of these screenshots that I shared in my slides. Is it okay if I share, Cassandra?
Yeah, go for it. Here, I'll clear the question off.
So this oh yes, you can see my mouse. So on the left here, this is what the phone looks like when you're labeling in training mode. It's vertical and it looks just like this. Let me see if I can get the videos to play. And then when you're in bound, it looks like this in the middle where it turns horizontal. We found that was easier for making bounding boxes. So in training, one of the first things you'll do is you're in this underwater world that's very kind of floaty and flowy, and you're swimming along currents. Then you collect the images, and here, this is going quite quickly, but you can see this is where you label the images. So you click on the button that is associated with each of the animals to name that animal. And so you collect it, you tap to collect. This is the mini game called Pulse. Then you complete the dive and label. I hope that helps. I think the best way, sometimes it's a little bit hard to show the experience. Sometimes the best way is just to download and try it out. It's free, and you can get it on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Awesome. Thank you for showing us that. Kat Davis, University of Maryland, looks at learning that is embedded in the data, people being able to distinguish between house finches and purple finches over time. Are your volunteers getting better with their identification?
Oh, I think that would be a really interesting question for us to look at and dive into once we're able to. Once we have time. I think we haven't looked at that for version 2 yet, but we are planning on comparing kind of how players are doing now that we've improved some of the educational materials and the game mechanisms. So I don't know the answer to that yet, but I'd love to find out.
As AI recognition improves, will you use it to go back to previous video photos, redo ID with new improved ID specs, basically consistently improving the quality of data?
Yeah, so that's definitely a possibility. I think something currently is that there's a huge backlog of video that has yet to be annotated. MBARI is one of the leaders in video annotation, but I know a lot of other institutions don't have the same resources, and so this could possibly help with, helping get through that incredibly long backlog that we see with a lot of ocean exploration.
Would you consider starting a Kickstarter or other crowdfunding sources to help improve features and scale of the game?
I think we would. I would have to talk to our leadership and those above me about the feasibility of that, but definitely let us know if that's something that you think would be a good idea.
And then have you thought about teaming with senior centers and retirement homes to form competitive teams to use FathomVerse? That would be
Ooh.
excellent for mental stimulation and maybe especially interesting to those who live along the coasts.
I think we haven't reached this age range. We worked with we're a project that's featured on SciStarter.org. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. And for Citizen Science Month, we made an event recipe card to help folks facilitate events using FathomVerse. And I know a library used it, but I haven't heard of any senior center. So I'd be very happy to work with anyone who's working in that space and see if we can make it work.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear a library used it. Love to hear
Yeah,
that.
libraries are the best.
Oh, right. And then regarding potential data contributors and partners, has MBARI engaged in ocean observatories initiatives or other ocean monitoring programs with hardware out in the water already?
Yes, so we actually, one of the contributors to FathomVerse already is the Ocean Observatories Initiative. So that is a partner that we are in contact with and would be open to ingesting even more data. And other similar organizations would be happy to work with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then a question came in the audience chat. Has it been thought to get the diving community involved as a diverse teaching tool?
Ooh, yes, I think that could be really interesting. And we're actually working on something that might interest a lot of divers as they have their own imagery. Um, that I'd recommend subscribing to our email list to be the first to hear about.
Sounds good. And then I
But
think
sorry, it's to also say, I think that this, just anyone who enjoys looking at animals and imagery of the ocean would enjoy playing FathomVerse in your free time.
sounds good. I think we had a question similar to this before, but just in case, is there opportunity for scientists to contribute their own image and video data sets for incorporation and annotation?
Yes, so it's a little bit dependent on the format, but we are figuring out the best ways to do that. And if you send us an email, that's the best way to kick off that conversation about the best way of how to share and contribute your data sets.
Awesome. Well, I believe that is all the questions that we had in our Q&A. I'm just checking through to make sure I didn't accidentally miss something. In the audience chat, someone says that their son asks, will there be sea pigs?
There are sea pigs. If you choose the sea cucumber mission, there will be sea pigs. That's a favorite of mine too. I especially like it when you can see a lot of them crawling along the seafloor. They seem to, in my experience, like muddy seafloors, and I've seen quite a few of them. So if you choose that first in training, you'll have a fun time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, presenting and talking all about FathomVerse. And thank you, Rebecca, for organizing today's event. Rebecca, do you have any final remarks?
Absolutely. Um, Thank you again, Lilli, for joining us today. I appreciate that. I actually downloaded FathomVerse and played it in the airport last week. And when people tried to talk to me, I said, sorry, I'm busy. I'm working. So it's definitely an enjoyable experience. So thank you very much for sharing that. Also, thank you so much for everybody for having such great questions and engagement today. We're going to keep this going next month as promised. With our speaker, Melissa Griffin. Melissa will be presenting on August 21st at 2 p.m. She is the assistant state climatologist in South Carolina, and she is going to be talking about our COCO-RAS program and how citizen science collected weather data can be used for forecasting, especially around some of our extreme weather events. So be sure to tune in for that. We'll be sending out an email and sharing that with our community as well. And once again, thank you so much, Lilli. This was wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this was really great. One final question that just came in. Is
Okay.
there FathomVerse swag to purchase?
There's not FathomVerse swag to purchase. However, if you do find us at an event, we can share some really cool stickers.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, audience. We hope to see you at our next Citizen Science seminar and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all.